Dream Team? It's your boy Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with what Red Bull just found is shocking. And we're with Formula One. But before we dive in, make sure you subscribe, ring notification bell, give the video a thumbs up. Let's do this.
Red Bull have brought out the big guns for pre-season testing. And although Ferrari topped the sheets on the second and third days in Bahrain, it's obvious that the team to beat would be the Austrian squad. However, there is one element that caught everyone, even Red Bull, by huge surprise. And even though they're the masters of aerodynamics and tyre degradation, this fact has the potential to change everything the other teams know about this aspect of the car. After Verstappen's latest statements, could we see Red Bull completely obliterating the rest of the grid in 2024? And how did they manage?
So far, they have 2 races so far, complete obliteration. 1-2 Red Bull finishes.
To achieve almost zero tyre degradation in Bahrain's pre-season testing. It's safe to say that Red Bull has kept the dominance mostly through having very low tyre degradation and having the ability to extend the life of the tyres for double the period compared to their rivals.
Ooh,
this was also tested in Bahrain, where Verstappen hailed the car to be doing exactly what I want it to do, while Helmut Marko sent fierce warnings to their rivals when it comes to the new design and upgrades that the Austrian team plans to implement in the 2024 season. Verstappen's statement is one that sends chills down your spine if you're his rival, because more or less it implies that the rest of the grid would be watching the back of his car much more often than they did in 2023, even though we thought that was practically impossible.
I swear to God, because what did he win? He lost like 2, maybe 3 races last year. I don't know. I think it was 2, but it might have been 3. But that was it. That's legit it. He won the rest of them, dog. That's insane. So saying that they're going to be seeing the back of his car even more, saying he's winning every single race. And as long as his car just performs, no engine failure, nothing like that, he is going to win every single race.
On the RB20's feel on the track, Verstappen went on to say, "Today we've made the plan to not focus on pure lap time. I think it was more important just to get the long running done and then get a bit more of an understanding of the car. So we focused on that program. And to be honest, I think it all looked quite positive. I'm quite happy with the car and how it was behaving. And then we head into the race weekend. It's all about fine-tuning the balance around the circumstances that you face throughout that weekend. The team believes that with how the car is, there is more potential to find. So that is now up to us to unlock. I didn't feel a massive difference from last year, but these cars are sensitive to wind. Basically on a track like this, where the wind can influence your balance quite a lot. Breaking into turn 1 and out of turn 1, that combination between 2 is always quite tricky, but it felt pretty similar to last year. But we don't have to listen to Verstappen's statements to see if he's bluffing or if he's praising something that's not true. All we have to do is see the lap times of the Dutchman when it comes to the race lap simulations. With the C1 compound tyres, which are the hardest tyres, Verstappen started with a 1 minute 37.559, and in the next 13 laps, he never got any worse time than that. Quite the contrary, not only did he consistently improve, but in the last couple of laps, he was able to put a lap time down to a 1:36.805, which was the 9th consecutive lap he drove. Similar to that, Verstappen drove 12 race pace laps with a C3 tyre, which was done on the 3rd day of pre-testing, and just like the C1 outing, Verstappen started with 1:37.7s and managed to get the time down to 1:37 dead in the 9th consecutive lap. It's quite interesting to see that the faster time was set with the harder compound of tyres, which suggests that Red Bull was hiding a little bit of engine performance throughout the 3rd day of testing, as Verstappen admitted that he was focused on the program of understanding the car. These results are quite important because on the conclusive day of pre-season testing, we've seen improved performance from teams like Ferrari and McLaren. And while they were out with the C4 softer compound tyre compared to Verstappen, the consistency came from the Dutchman considering the fact that the outdoor temperature dropped to 23 degrees Celsius, which was something that couldn't escape your eye. The true capabilities of the car became evident, and with that, Verstappen might have demotivated the entire grid by having Alonso say that 19 other drivers know they won't be fighting for the World Championship in 2024. But there is another very important factor that
a lot of the buddies just say, yeah, we all lost. Yeah, it's Max's championship to lose. Max drives like Max drives if his car performs like it's supposed to. Let's go ahead and look ahead to 2025.
We need to understand here, and that is the degradation of the tyres. More often than not, the teams are testing the tyre degradation during these pre-season tests, and according to reports from the paddock, Red Bull's degradation was close to 0. Obviously, you can't
That's
literally
crazy.
have zero degradation on a tyre, because from
Yeah.
the moment it hits the abrasive asphalt in Bahrain, it starts degrading. But what the experts mean when they say zero degradation is that the current level of eating the tyres up has literally no effect on the car's performance.
That's
For
insane.
comparison, Haas ditched everything in order to understand why their car is eating up the tyres so much, and Ferrari are the happiest when it comes to the improvements in this sector only. Therefore, if you have a team that is degrading the tyres at such a low pace, even massively lower compared to last year, chances of you overcoming that are close to zero. Yes, the rest of the grid made
crazy.
huge strides, but Red Bull didn't plan to mess around with the new design of the car, one that both Verstappen and Perez labelled as brave and bold. But that's exactly what you need in order to improve the performance of your car and set a new standard that the rest of the grid would find extremely hard to follow. Obviously, the air hitting the front tyres has literally no effect on how the tyres are degrading when it comes to the RB20's performance. And while Mercedes came up with this very efficient front wing design and one that will likely be protested by a lot of teams in the following period, the tyre degradation is nowhere near the one that Red Bull has shown during the 3-day period.
So their tires are basically going to last longer than every other car on the grid. And they're going to last longer at a much higher performance. Yeah, that's a huge step in Red Bull, who is already dominating everyone. That is a huge step. That's crazy.
Verstappen hasn't been immune to the talks that were surrounding his team's copying of Mercedes' design, one that's been labelled as a failure in the past couple of years, and adding to this matter, the Dutchman said, "Our team knows what they're doing, and also on the simulator, we do a lot of testing to build a starting setup, and it's quite clever to pick up the right things from a car that's never been on the track before in the simulator. The world is surprised by our choice, but I trust the people on our team. They are confident that this is better than everything else they've tested in the winter."
Oh, wow.
Helmut Marko, although still very aware that the design they have chosen could have strong repercussions on how the car would act from Suzuka onwards, has praised the work that's been done from Red Bull in the past couple of months, mostly because his team had the luxury to work on the 2024 Challenger way earlier than anyone else. When talking about this matter, the Austrian sent a fierce warning to the rest of the grid, adding, "Our car is more than an evolution, it's a small revolution. The idea we have is not as extreme as Mercedes' previous design. They were also convinced by the data of their sidebox-less concept. In practice, it didn't work at all. And we will now see in the tests whether we can successfully implement this solution, or let's say, a similar solution." The eyes of the media are definitely pointed towards the new philosophy of Red Bull. And with closer observation, a very important function was found on the new vertical inlet of the RB20's side pods. For example, the majority of the experts believed that this part would perform a similar function as the bypass duct the SF24 would have. And while it still does this function, it's not its primary goal. The inlet also feeds the turbocharger cooling. The cooler is now placed at floor level and technically rests on it, while the vertical inlet sends air to it through a special duct. This is very important due to the high temperatures that the car would withstand in the first 3 tracks of the season. And when we move to Suzuka, we're very likely to see Red Bull shift more towards the zero-pod concept of the car. But this solution gives them a very big opportunity, because it is quite an extreme version of the V-shaped longitudinal radiator position, as was the example in the past couple of years. But
Yeah, basically ain't nobody effing with Red Bull. Basically what my guy said, Red Bull done wrapped up this season, probably next season too. These teams gonna have to step up, dog. These people, they gonna have to come up with these ideas, and these engineering teams gonna have to figure it out to put a car that can compete.
the fact that the cooler is placed at floor level enables one very important thing: counterbalancing the position of the radiators at the top of the side pods. In this way, the car's center of gravity remains unchanged, and the solution promotes better balance on a dynamic level. The genius minds of Nui and Wache are inventing and implementing stuff from old concepts, and that itself shows that Red Bull might not be catchable for the next couple of years, especially if their new design sets a new standard that the rest of the grid would be forced to chase. However, after every team out there opted to chase the RB19's design, and not many believed that the sidepod concept of Mercedes had some kind of potential in it after the last 2 seasons Mercedes had with it, if Red Bull proves them otherwise, then it's a checkmate move on the entire grid.
I swear to God.
This checkmate move consists of the fact that these cars are the cars that we are very likely to see in the 2025 season as well, because it's very unlikely the teams will change the entire philosophy and chassis for 1 year only, considering that 2026 will bring new regulations with huge engine changes to the car. So, if Red Bull truly hides more pace for the upcoming week, and the tyre degradation is just as low as they are predicting it to be, then the season might be over before it's even started.
Nah,
Do you think that the Austrian team found something revolutionary with their latest design? Let us know in the comments below, and once you do that, make sure to click on the video that's appearing on your screen right now.
You can definitely tell this season is over after the first 2 races. I know the Australian Grand Prix is going to happen. I'm excited to react to that. But, yeah, this season's a wrap. That's all we got. Make sure y'all subscribe, ring notification bell, give the video a thumbs up. It's your boy D Neal. Out.